All right, so we're making a cover for our journal. So you need your book. You need a piece of paper that is wider, at least wider than your book when you open your book, because we're going to wrap it around. So the first thing you got to do is fit your cover to your book. So if you only have to cut one side if you'll slide it down, and then kind of bend and crease your paper. I'm going to crease it right here, because what you'll do with this is this will fold inside of your book, and then you can flip it this way and hold it as straight as you can, crease, and then this will fold into the back. This is what's going to keep your cover on. We can take that later when we finish our thing. So get this to where it lays nice. I'll kind of crease that up. And then we need to figure out how much to cut off here. So what you're going to do is just run your finger along there to make a little crease, so you know how much you need to cut off. And then I'm just going to pull my book out. Set to the side. And then you can just take and fold this. And what you're going to do is cut off that extra. So I'm going to cut right here. Okay, so now I cut off the extra. You can double check, just make sure that it fits your book like you want it to after you've cut it. So it should cover it nicely. Okay, now take your book back out, set it to the side. You don't need it right now. So you're going to take and you're going to open up your paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to collage. Either you can use, you could use pages out of your own book if you want to tear some pages out. You could use newspaper with print on it. You could use pages out of another book that's in my scrapbook area. And what we're going to do is we're going to collage using Mod Podge, which is just kind of like school glue. And you're going to rip. I don't suggest cutting pieces because it leaves a very hard edge. If you rip it, it kind of feathers it, so it lays nicer. And you're going to rip. They don't have to be super small pieces, but you don't want big pieces either. You can kind of do different shapes. And you're just going to rip up some paper. Put that one down a little bit. We want to have a very neutral background because you're going to add color or pictures over the top of it. It's always important to start with your background when you're doing any kind of art, really. Work back to front. That way you build up layers, which adds depth. All right, now that you have your paper, you're going to take a glue brush and you want to put glue down, put the paper down, and put glue over the top. You don't need too much. Don't shove your glue or your paintbrush down where you get glue all up in here. It'll dry the bristles out and then they splay out and look ugly and don't paint very well either. So you're going to cover this whole thing. You're just going to start with some patches of glue, and just, if you put too much glue, your paper's going to keep sliding everywhere, which will be aggravating. And I'm going to add a little more glue, and I'm going to add another piece of paper and glue down until we have the whole front and back covered. Make sure you overlap so you don't have any paper showing through, any of the white paper. you can go over the edge of the paper. It's okay if you get glue on the table, just make sure you clean it up. If you go over the edge, we can, once it's dry, you can cut that off so you won't have that edge, but it will at least be all the way to the end of the paper. Oh, ledger, paper's sticky somewhere. All right, so I'm done with this. Do not use the scissors until this is dry. Let it dry, then I can trim all this extra off. And then start designing the rest of my book.